when you no longer have to think about, am I fluent? Let that resonate. Let that sink in. You'll know you're fluent, and if you're like, what did I just click on? Don't worry. We're gonna get into it a bit more than that, but you'll know when you're fluent. And I'm gonna give you guys a few tips, a few reference points to know exactly when it is that you're fluent, because it's really difficult to know when you're fluent. And for me, with my Spanish, it wasn't until people started saying, hey, you're like fluent in Spanish, huh? And then I was like, oh, I guess I am. Huh. But there are some ways to recognize when you're fluent. And some of those ways, like, there's any number of ways. When people start saying, hey, you're fluent. When you start to think in your language. When it starts to come naturally, fluidly. Fluency is fluid. So it comes like with my English right now. I'm speaking, it's just kind of coming out. I still have to think, before I speak. Kind of, think a little bit, even when I'm speaking my native language. But when I'm speaking Spanish, the moment when I became fluent wasn't a moment exactly. It was unidentifiable. I don't know when it happened, actually. It happened. So how do you know when? You know when you get to a point and you're just like, when did that happen? So it's not one moment. And the other important thing is that it's not an end point. Fluency is not a destination. Fluency is a state of learning. It is when you get to the point where you can process your language without too much effort. So you can process your language easily through your mind, through speaking, reading, writing, listening, all of those. It comes into your brain and it comes out of your mouth, or you write it down with minimal effort, we'll say. And doesn't mean that you don't have any effort, because even when I am speaking or writing or reading in English, sometimes it still takes a lot of effort. So it doesn't mean that there's no effort, but it means that it is easier than it was when you first began that language, than it was when you were having to think about, okay, how do I conjugate this in this way? And for like Romance language, at least with conjugations. But it's like that. It's like, okay, I can communicate my thoughts and express my ideas, and it doesn't take too much effort. I can do it. If I want to express something more complex, it might be kind of challenging. Might have to think a little bit more. And that's okay. And with my second language, with Spanish, sometimes I struggle with some of the tenses still, even though I consider myself fluent in that language. Sometimes I still have to think about, like, do I use this tense here or this tense? Is this subjunctive with this and this and this, But that doesn't mean that I'm not fluent, because even in English, sometimes I have to think about it. And people make mistakes in English, for example, with the subjunctive all the time. Like, if I was there, then I would do that. People say that all the time. They don't say if I were there. They don't use subjunctive. So, and they don't even know what subjunctive is a lot of the time. Like, I didn't know what subjunctive was before I started learning a second language. And some people don't. They still don't. They know, like, oh, it's a hypothetical situation, but they don't know those things. But it doesn't mean you're not fluent, because there is no single definition of fluency. There are many, and I did create my own on my website, or somewhere I created my own of something somewhere. But fluency, we'll create our own right now. Fluency is the ability to speak fluidly and easily and articulately. How's that? And yes, so that is when you're fluent. And nothing in there is about grammar or vocabulary, because there's always more. There's always more grammar, there's always more vocabulary, there's always ways you can refine your language skills. There are always more grammar concepts, and if there aren't, then there is room for improvement in your grammar, in the language, the grammar of that entire language. There's room for improvement. So it's not an end. It's never an end. Nothing has an end. And I know that that's like, it can be frustrating. You're like, oh, what do you mean nothing has an end? But it's don't be frustrated by it, because it's actually calming if you think about it this way. I am going to achieve my goals in my language, I don't know exactly when, I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but I know that I'm capable. I know that I will do it as long as I keep making progress. I know I will do it. And I know that my progress is an accomplishment. I know that no matter how good I get, I can always improve. And I know that where I am right now is an accomplishment. To get to this level that I am right now is an accomplishment. So already I have accomplished something. Already I am successful, and my success continues. I continue to be successful so long as I continue to improve. And the moment I stop improving and I stop maintaining my skills is the moment I'm no longer successful. And I have control over that. I have complete control over that. If you change your mindset, if you open your mind to this, it just alleviates so much of that pressure. You no longer have to be just reaching for that next goal, that next thing, that next level, because where you are right now is enough, so long as you are committed to always improving, to always learning more, to always doing better, and to always being open to criticism and to ways that you can improve. Then you are successful already, so long as you continue to improve. And you know what? I feel like that's a good message to end this with. So how do you know when you're fluent? You know you're fluent when you reach that level with your language. When you say, my level in my language is enough. Doesn't mean that I'm done, because I still have to maintain it, because if I stop, my level is going to go down because I'm not using it, so it's going to go down. I have to maintain it. But the moment when you get to the level where you say, I feel good about my level here, this is enough, that's when you're fluent. And the moment when you get there doesn't mean that you're done. It just means that you say, okay, this is a good level. I want to keep going. I want to maintain it here, however it is. But this is a good level. That's when you're fluent. And that is my definition of fluency. So if you would like to, you know what, let's open this up in the comments. What is your definition of fluency? How do you know when you are fluent in a language? There is no right or wrong answer here, because fluency is fluid. And there are many, many, many different ways to measure when you are fluent. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know. What do you think? What does it mean to be fluent? Let me know down below in the comments, and we can have a discussion about all of the different meanings of fluency. Bye, guys.